Hello, everyone. My name is Emerald. I have my computer in front of me and I have the questions for today's video on my phone. This is the Creative Soul Sanctuary, and today will be my first video. I'm joining 70 other Black BookTubers, and we are doing a Black BookTuber tag. And so I have the questions here on my phone, and I'm going to answer them for you guys. Okay? So, number one question is: who are you? Where are you from? And what kind of books do you love to read? So, my name is Emerald Barnes. I am from Georgia, and I am 36 years old. I had to think about it because there's been a lot going on the last couple of years. I'm 36 years old. I love reading. I have been an avid reader since I was a child. I love books. When I read, I get to escape away from all the drama and stress, and that is something that I always look forward to. So I will read anything: fiction, nonfiction, historical. Only thing I won't read is romance. I'm not a huge fan of romance at all. I don't even like romance movies. Although I do love romantic comedies, but I'm not really a romance girl. But mystery, sci-fi, YA, children's literature, it doesn't matter if it's interesting. I'm gonna read it because I just love going into different worlds. It's just really cool, and then also because the way my imagination works, I can kind of just I can see everything as it's happening in the book, and it's really cool. It plays like a movie, so it's just really exciting. So that's the kind of books I like to read. And yeah, my name is Emerald. What made you start a BookTube channel? I started this channel because I needed something to do. I'm going to be very honest. My father just passed February 2nd, which is my birthday. He just passed, and that was my best friend. That still is my best friend. And for the last 16 plus years, we were both dealing with health issues. Like, I watched my health change so quickly from the age of 19, and then by the time I made it to 22, I was in a wheelchair, and then it has just been getting crazier and more difficult to manage as the years go on. But then from 2023, then 2024, our father was in the hospital, and then 2025, he was in the hospital yet again. And then unfortunately, beginning of this year, he passed. And one of the things he would always tell me is to put myself out there, do the things that I find fun. Like, I'm always watching YouTubers. I'm blogging. I was a blogger for 8 years, and I worked with the makeup show Orlando. I was pressed for the Andis company. I've done all these things for 8 years as a blogger, and I ended up in the hospital, and my website was actually stolen. And so all my work was gone, and I gave up. But my father always wanted me to get back to doing things that I enjoyed and stop hiding. Because the thing is, when your health changes, especially when it's a chronic illness, something you cannot control and it's progressive, you will start to hide yourself because the world kind of doesn't expect you to exist and to enjoy life. They want you to almost perform illness, I found. And if you're not crying, if you're not, you don't have your head down, or you're not super depressed or something, then they typically won't believe you. And I just started hiding. I got tired of being bullied. I dealt with bullying my entire life, and I just gave up, admittedly. But then this happened, and it's like a wake up call because life, everything changed so fast. He was doing good 1 minute, and then by the time we made it home, we got a phone call that he took a turn for the worse, and that shook me. I was depressed for the last 2 months, and then I realized, like, yeah, I could hear my father telling me, "Emmy, that's not what we're about to do. You're stronger than this. Get up. Let's move. Let's go do something." And so I thought, you know what? I never wrote a book like I said I wanted to. He always encouraged me to do it. So yeah, I'm gonna do that. And then I was so busy hiding that I didn't bother to start a YouTube channel or get back to blogging. So I'm gonna do that. and it's all for him. And I'm hoping in the process that I will get back to a state of joy. um, I don't want to be sad for the rest of my life, even though I know that's a part of grief and it's something I'm going to have to get used to. But for right now, I'm hoping this YouTube channel will be something to keep me busy. And then it also involves reading, which is something I've always loved doing. Even when I was a kid, I read the dictionary for fun. So, number three, what genre do you think deserves more attention within Black literature? I think Afrofuturism. That's really, really cool. I've just started getting into it myself, so I don't really have any recommendations or much knowledge behind it. But I do commonly see people on threads and various YouTube channels, and they talk about needing more representation for Afrofuturism. So I do think that's a genre that needs more attention. But I will also say history, whether it's historical fiction or whether you're actually reading about the history of Black Americans. I hit myself so hard. I am Gullah Geechee, and sorry, I didn't realize this was down here. I am Gullah Geechee, and I am also a speaker of Tutnese, and I have Cameroonian heritage as well as Jamaican heritage. So I have been. Oh, I have ADHD. I'm so sorry. I forgot what I was talking about. Yes, Black history, because learning about your culture is super important, especially when you have been trained to assimilate. And I have a lot of guilt because my grandmother was never ashamed of her Gullah Geechee heritage. She just wasn't. She was very into making sure we understood our history, why it was important for us to take our education seriously. My grandmother could even really read, so it was always important for us to take our education seriously. But in the process of doing that, like I grew up in the 90s. I was born in 1990. And so it was a huge thing for the people I was around for us to assimilate, especially when we moved to Florida. Even with my southern accent, I'm originally from Georgia, as I mentioned, and I got made fun of. I was like made fun of so bad for it that I just tried to change it. And so I have found that since I've been reading more history, um, historical books about Gullah Geechee heritage, about the South, about Albany, Georgia, because I'm from Sylvester, Georgia, but about all the history, the rich history of that area. I'm developing a newfound appreciation for my background. So I do believe that every Black person, especially younger kids, should start with Black historical fiction and as well as fiction, nonfiction. I mean, to understand who we are as a people, because once we understand that and we develop a pride within ourselves, we will be less likely to want to assimilate and to lose ourselves. Yeah. So, which Black literary character lives rent free in your head? Lauren from Octavia Butler's book. Let me see if it's down here. It is from Octavia Butler's book, Parable of the Sower. Here we go, right here. I love this book so much. I've read it 3 times. I also have Parable of the Talents, but so far I haven't been able to get into it. I think that I'm partial to this book. But Lauren, I love the way she thinks, and she's smart. She's very bold. I would say tenacious. She has a certain understanding of life itself. For her to be so young, she has a curiosity about her that I find very interesting. And I see a lot of myself in Lauren from Parable of the Sower. All right, number 5. What book best represents your community, culture, or upbringing? Now, I don't know. I'm still discovering this, you guys. I would like to see more books, or find more books rather, about Gullah Geechee heritage. I know I have the fables that I'm familiar with growing up, but I haven't found a book that I've read, so I wouldn't really feel comfortable giving you recommendations right now. If you have any recommendations, books about the South, more specifically Southwest Georgia, I'm from Sylvester, Georgia. Any books about Gullah Geechee, Cameroonian, Jamaican history, or historical fiction, or any type of fiction, or books that kind of talk about Tutnese. I do speak Tutnese, and that's something that I would like to. I don't know if there are books out there that explore this, but I think it would be very interesting. And if you do speak Tutnese, I want to say that I hashapapitas hashitat ayakoyu waksa eskwelal dalay sustatinan tatomami ona tatashisas katashe skwaranan ilal nandalalir nan sosomami tatashanayinjag fafrotoma mami anandad hashopapi fafulal yakoyu waksai skoralal hashebabi sosomami tatashananjag toto tatashe rati waksai tatash mami. Thank you. All right, now back to the questions. Number 6, which Black author would you love to have dinner with, living or deceased, and why? Octavia Butler. I love the way she thinks. I love her interviews. She has a very calm, quiet confidence. It's the only way I can describe it. And I also love the way her mind works. Her book is almost, honestly, if you've ever read this before and then you liken it to present day, it was almost prophetic in a way. I really believe. And so I would love to just be able to write with her, to ask her what it was like when those characters were coming to her writing process. Did she ever deal with writer's block? How did she get past it? And how does she have the confidence to continue to write about Black characters and not feel the need to include as many other ethnicities in her writings? But then I also would love to have met Toni Morrison, as well as, I can't remember her full name, but I know it's Shatangi. I'm probably pronouncing it wrong, but I ended up with one of her books through Solange Knowles' library thing that she does, where she sends out books, and I fell in love with her writing. So it would have been amazing, or it would be amazing to sit down with her. All right, let's keep going. If a new viewer found my channel today, what 3 books would introduce them to my reading taste? First and foremost, we're going to go right back here. Parable of the Sower. Okay, I love books that touch on real life. Like, I love a little imagination, stretching the believability here and there, but when a book is right, like spot on with just sitting back, pattern recognition, and seeing where the world could go, I'm right there. That's why I would also suggest Fahrenheit 451. I fell in love with that book when I was in grade school. And I think, to round it out, Read Dangerously is a book that I've just picked up, but she talks about her life in Iran, and she compares it to things she's noticing in the political sphere here in America, and how writers, poets, and artists are necessary for the world to move forward. We put things that are often difficult to talk about, we put it right in people's faces. We unearth things that people don't want to talk about. They may see it as taboo, but writers, artists, poets, they aren't afraid to go there, and it helps us to change the people. It helps us to grow, and that book's really amazing to me. I don't want to give too much of an opinion about the book just yet because I'm almost finished with it. I do know I'll be complete with the book by this weekend, and then I will write a short essay and then come back, and I would like to read the reference material that she has in the book, and then I'll come back and share it with you guys on the channel. That would be a nice video to have. But yes, I think, those 3 books: Parable of the Sower, Read Dangerously, and Fahrenheit 451. I love the book, love the film. I love just any genre that's not romance. I will read it because I don't like all that. All right, finish the sentence. is Black BookTube is necessary to help push the community forward. Literary crisis we are currently in. Like I thought it was really sad to see that high schoolers were having difficulty reading, and it concerns me because I want reading to be just as important to my fellow Black Americans as it was for me growing up. It was a big push because, like I said, my grandmother couldn't read, so it was a big push for her, for us to take reading seriously, to take our education seriously. And so I feel like seeing more examples of Black men and women sharing books they're reading and being heavily into literature and learning is a great thing to see for younger people, for all ages, but especially for younger people who may be more enticed by the nonsense on social media. So, even though there's a time and a place for that, but I do believe that having representation matters, and hopefully it will change the direction that we're currently going in, and we'll have more people who are reading, because I don't want to live in a world where the library is closed. I don't want that, and I don't want people in my culture to, or any culture, to not take advantage of books and learn, because you're easier to control when you lack knowledge. So pick up a book, read, absorb it, and then take a lesson from it. So yeah, this has been really fun to do. There are 70 other YouTubers that are participating in this book tag, this Black BookTube tag, and I look forward to sharing more content with you guys. Today has been very interesting for me. Like I said, I'm very shy. The very first video, I know I'm mumbling and saying too much, using too many filler words, and having difficulty looking at the camera, but I'm shy and I tend to lose my thought pattern very quickly. But I'm proud of myself because I'm showing up, and I have this horrible fear of being seen. So I don't know. I know I'm making my father proud, and I'm excited to do this with other Black YouTubers who are as passionate about reading as I am. What books are you currently reading? What drew you to that book, and what books would you suggest for me as I learn to deconstruct all this that I was taught when I moved to Florida about what it is to be unworthy, and a lot of that was based in not identifying as much with my Gullah heritage, with being Black in general. I really want to learn more about my culture. I have a rich culture, rich background: Cameroonian, Jamaican, Gullah Mexican. I'm very, very, very proud of who I am, but I feel like I'm learning to have more joy and more love for Black books, for Black history, and not wanting to assimilate anymore. I just don't want to do it. It it never made me happy. It just further the idea that I was unworthy unless I had straight hair, unless I spoke a certain way. I don't want that anymore. So if you have books that talk about, encourage more, what am I trying to say? Education into your culture, um, let me know. Okay. But this is my first video. I promise you it will get better. I'm very nervous and shy, but I'm excited to be here. So thank you guys so much. This is the Creative Soul Sanctuary. On this channel, I'm going to cover everything from art, wellness, books. We're going to talk about documentary films. I really love that a lot. And I'm really big on mental health. I have high functioning autism, anxiety, depression, and ADHD combined type. It's important to me to be a voice for those who have chronic illnesses, especially those who are difficult to diagnose, rare disorders because I find there's not as much representation within the Black community, and I really want to make sure that no young person goes through the stress that I went through in the earlier years of my health crisis. And I want to send love out there to anyone who has lost a parent. My heart is with you. Anyone who is starting over. I'm 36, and so it feels like it feels weird because people make you think you should have your life together by now, and I feel like the rug has been ripped from underneath me. But I know I'm not the only one dealing with that, so I'm sending my heart out to those who are in the same predicament. I love you. Keep your head up and remember to just keep shining and go after the things that you want to accomplish. Thank you so much for watching my very, 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 very first video on the Creative Soul Sanctuary. And I look forward to you coming back around into my Tutney speakers. Hatashi ng kakyakoyu foforat babae sa sayo tatay ng jakwami o ng tatashis. Katashe ng square ng ilal. Ay lalavavi ako yu ananda daya hasha papi ako yu katamangi babay katkak ananda sa square mami. Bye bye.